If I'm not mistaken, we are up to Sif Beis.
Yeah.
Siman Peitas Sif Beis. So the Shulchan Aruch said that you have to wait 6 hours or 1 hour. That was from after eating meat to then eating milk. But what about the opposite? After eating milk, then do you have to do anything to eat meat? So, Ochal Gavina, Mutter Le'echol Acharav Basar Miyad. After cheese or dairy, you could eat meat right away. You don't have to wait. But what you do have to do is a couple things. First of all, check your hands. They used to eat with the fingers. You have to obviously make sure your hands are clean. Because if you just ate cheese and you have schmutz of cheese on your hand, you can't eat meat. So obviously you gotta basically don't use the same fork. You gotta make sure that there's no schmutz. At night where you can't check your hands, wash them. Fine. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that your hands are clean. Fine, but let's say you move past that. We use forks nowadays, so it's not relevant. You have to eat something, and rinse your mouth out. So you have to eat something that will sort of clear the palate and rinse your mouth out. So you have to eat something to clear the palate and rinse your mouth out.
That's if you chew the cheese. What if you just drank milk? So you just drink.
Still, to eat something and clear your mouth out would be required even on a liquid, I would assume. I don't remember it, but I happened to open up to Daf Chav Ches and Tosefes Halacha. So he asked your question, which is, if you drink milk, do you also need to eat something? He says, "Ba'agois harashash to Maseches Chulin Kasav Loimer shedafka kishachol gvino ton kinuch v'adacha peh avashasa chalav dailei b'hadacha b'li kinuach." Meaning, if you just drink milk, all you got to do is just drink a liquid. Ulam b'israv atvarach. However, Rabbi Yana disagrees. He's mavur, and obviously the Rashash is not the Israv atvarach. So they showed him the Rabbi Yana. Sha'afach richolav tzarach adav v'gam kinuach. V'chinas do some malkiel.
It's a legitimate question.
Yeah, no, it's a different question, but I would say that you need both. Because again, the explanation would be very simple, and that is, once Takanas Chazal is that's what's needed, they're not going to make distinctions between a liquid and a solid. Okay, so back over here. Now, interesting, notice there is zero indication of waiting a half hour. It's a Chassidish minhag that after dairy you wait a half hour. We'll see where it potentially comes from. Let's keep going. Right, kinuach is eating something, but it doesn't, by the way. Sometimes if you eat something that you eat bread, which again it's a more of a brittle food. The chemical so you could eat anything. Chutz mekimcha, except for this pasty, flour paste, vitamri or dates. Because dates, it's the opposite. It's like eating caramel. It's the opposite. It's not going to clear the palate. It's going to cling to the teeth. V'yarok or vegetables, they stick to the molars. Actually, b'chanichan is the place of where the teeth meet the gums. And they don't clean the teeth. And then you rinse your mouth out. Okay, fine, man. Now, okay. The minhag is to do it anyway. Now, v'yesh machmirim afilu b'basar acher gvina. So this is interesting. This v'yesh machmirim, Taka holds that you have to wait 6 hours. Meaning, v'yesh machmirim afilu basar acher gvina. So the mechaber is telling you don't have to wait at all. All you have to do is rinse your mouth out and eat something. Zakter Amma, there is a shita of the Mordechai, the yesh machmir, you have to wait. The same way. Meaning, there's basically opposite. You have one sheet that says you have to wait 6 hours by all dairy, and Zakter Ramah, we don't follow that way. We only follow it by aged hard cheese, which we'll get to in a second. And even that, there are those that are mekel, that you don't even have to wait after aged cheese. And you shouldn't be moicha. You mentioned
last time the Lubavitch wait 1 hour after milk.
Do they? I have no idea.
Is that after? Okay.
Oh, so I'll tell you. So let's. There's a couple things. Notice. Okay, let's go. Let's make one point clear, and then I'll go to the half hour thing. It's interesting that the Ramah calls waiting up for aged cheese. He could v'yesh makilim. There are those that are mekel. Now, the reason why this is significant is the thing about Moshe is that he threw in completely agavdik. Amazing you say this. So this is in Yeridea, Ikras Moshe Yeridea Chilik Beisim and Chavav, where Moshe was asked the following. Vitamin shenasu mikovid shel behemus kashrus imutal of loyasam acher achilus chalav. The lashon of the shaila was, can I eat liver pills after I'm dairy? So the question is, that's very strange. Now, we understand what the person asked. What he meant was, do I have to wait 6 hours from the liver pill? But what they technically wrote was, can I eat liver pills when I'm milchik? So Moshe said, Hine zevade in a klump. What's the question? Acher chalav mutal acher basa. You could always eat meat after milk. But ulai kavanas hu acher gvina kasha. Oh, so maybe you're referring to aged cheese. Sheyesh lahachmer shaloi lachol basar. Aval zehu rak chumra. That's a chumra. Shemeikar adin mutar acher gvina kasha kedisa berama. Ramosha says that's a chumra because meikar adin, even aged cheese, we don't really hold that you have to wait. That's what Ramosha calls the chumra, because Ramosha says, and what he means is, if you look at the Ramah, yesh machmirin, that there are those that are machmir to wait 6 hours for all dairy. You shouldn't be moicha. Ramosh is saying from the fact that the Ramah said ein limchos, it means this is a chumrah. Now, the reason why I mention that is because what once happened to me, and I could have been completely wrong. Now, even if it's a chumrah, it's obviously something that we should be careful with. But I will say this. I once had a shaila that someone that called me. She was eating a salad on Erev Shabbos, and she had like one bite, and it was a salad that had Parmesan cheese. Now, the problem is, she'll miss the entire Friday night meal. She'll have to sit there watching. So you're dealing with an Erev Shabbos. It's a shaila chash deraisa. It's a mitzvah deraisa. And this is a chumrah. So I said, okay. I said, you're telling me listen, it's not the end of the world. Now, was I wrong? Maybe. I'm not sure. But that's because the alternative, because she had one bite, after, maybe she'd have to sit there and miss the entire Friday night meal. I don't know. But once you're a Moshe, it's something. Now, by the way, I just want to mention before we go weiter, just because you handed me the sheets, I just want to read you. This is completely back on the previous.
The definition of hard cheese.
Oh, we'll get to there, but no, this is previous on the Siman. I just want to mention waiting 6 hours by meat for a cotton. I just want to. The Sefer Emes Yaakov brings in from Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky. Ad Gimel Shanim Ein Tzrichim Habdin Klal. For up to 3 years old, you don't have to wait at all. You should try to make sure there's no schmutz in their mouth. Megil Shalosh L'Sheish Kasar Yaakov Toiv Lahachmir Shah. From 3 to 6, it's good to wait 1 hour. The Ber Moshe Debetina Rav writes as follows: Mishalosh ad Sheish Yesil Schanech Oisam Da'achar Sheish Hem Mamtinim Sheish. Once they're 6, they should try to wait 6 hours. Ubiyal Chala Shoyev Isachala Varotza Lishtois Makshe Mashka Acheres. Let's say he's 6 years old. He's supposed to wait 6 hours, but he's screaming. He wants chocolate. He wants it. Then Hetiru ad Teshanim Acher Gimel Shais. Then he wait 3 hours until he's 9. Until you're 9.
You mentioned 2 more sheetas after that.
What was the sheet?
Shach and Ches, that the Marshal, that if he has a ruach of Torah, spirit of Torah in him, the kid should wait 6 hours. There was something about how
kid?
Yeah, we're talking about these young.
Shach was talking about the B'nai Torah. He wasn't talking about children. B'nai Adam she'einen B'nai Torah. B'nai Torah roi limchos. B'nai Torah, no, those are adults. Also.
But adults, of course they would.
No, it's because he was fighting against the Ramah. Because the Ramah said 1 hour. So he's saying, no. B'nai Torah should wait 6. He wasn't talking about children. Children, that's the shit.
The Ravadia, 5.5 hours is enough.
Correct. The Ravadia we saw, and we mentioned.
We checked into this, and Rabbi Taka said
5.5. Yeah.
Confirm with BMG.
Now that leads us to explain the Hasidic minhag. How so? The Yesh Machmirim, the first opinion, is to wait after all dairy the same length of time that you wait after meat. Now, in addition to the Ramah, the truth is there's a Zoyar. If you look in the Shach in Tez Zayin, the Shach in Tez Zayin says, the Kosav b'Sefer mitzaref l'chachma, t'lefi mashen esbar b'Sef Aleph, da'achar achilas basar noigel hamten sha'achas, imkein efshet degam hazoyer moidish li'yosar rak b'suda chada b'shayta chada. Meaning that when this Indian of waiting for aged cheese, the Shach writes, well, if you wait 1 hour, then you'll only have to wait 1 hour for aged cheese.
So it's the same you do for...
So it could be the Indian of waiting a half hour is as follows. Really, Me'ikar Adin, you don't have to wait at all for dairy. There is this first shita that holds that after dairy you should wait for meat. So that would be for us 6 hours. But this is the tzirav. If you hold like the Rama, we're being saimach on the Rama for dairy that it's 1 hour, and then once you're within a half hour of it's close enough. So the Indian of waiting a half hour is to try to get to an hour, to be saimach on the sheet of this first opinion, and to say that according to the first opinion you have to wait for dairy the same length of time that you wait for meat. Now, although we wait 6 hours, 1 hour is a legitimate shita, and we really should wait 1 hour for dairy to be choishish for this first shita, but a half hour is samach. That is most likely the origin of waiting after dairy. That is most likely the origin. Now, when it comes to, let's say, aged cheese. So what is the definition of aged cheese? Aged cheese, you're definitely supposed to wait. So if you look at the Taz, the Shach, Shekol Shakvina Kasha, in Tesvav, Umin Astam, Imhu Yeshana, Shisha Chadashim, Chashiva Kasha. By the average situation, if it's aged for 6 months, Chashiva Kasha. It's considered aged, and that's considered aged cheese. So last time I gave you a list. I don't know if you still have it.
But we also had the other sheet that if wormy was.
So the Taz mentions wormy, but here I have it. So this is from the Kosher Kitchen. I will just run through because especially people listen to this recording. So the age, it happens to be from the FDA. It has to tell you if it's aged 6 months or not. So the cheeses that you have to wait 6 hours for are Asiago, cheddar that is aged, Parmesan, that's the most common, by the way, Reggiano, Romano, and Swiss from Switzerland. But the most common one is Parmesan cheese.
It's even shredded, any
correct. It wouldn't make a difference. Now, there is one shaila that you alluded to before, and that is melted. The shaila about melted is as follows. There's a shita.
Yad Yehuda?
The Yad Yehuda was the one who was Mekel. He actually brings it down.
And the Bade Shulchan don't agree with him.
So he brings it down over here. In that Seif for Kosher Kitchen, he brings down that the Yad Yehuda.
Wait, who's playing with that?
Over here, the Kosher Kitchen, that one who eats hard cheese that has melted and dissolved into food need not wait 6 hours. Where does this get that from? This is the Yad Yehuda. However, others disagree. The Ben Ish Chai. Okay, now.
On Parmesan, is it het or no?
Correct, if it's melted in. And by the way, a lot of times it's in a salad, it's not melted in. But what's the cheshbon? The cheshbon is as follows.
All Parmesan, they're different.
No, all Parmesan is aged 6 months. Now, the what's the heter based on? So there's a shtickle Torah from, I think, Rav Yashiv, that he tells like this. There's 2 reasons. What are the 2 reasons you have to wait by meat? Either because it's in between the teeth, or because it coats the throat. So the Yad Yehuda Be'ikr apparently held that the Ikr, and those 2 svaras, by the way, would apply by dairy, right? Whatever applies to meat would apply to dairy. So the dairy is in between the teeth or coats the throat. The Yad Yehuda Be'ikr felt the concern was in between the teeth. So then it makes sense that if it's melted, it won't go in between the teeth. But if it's coating the throat, says Rav Yashiv,
like chicken soup, like a broth, really the same.
Also, I'm saying if it coats the throat, then when dairy melts like pizza, it gets more fatty. And if anything, it coats the throat more. So he questioned this heter because he says that this heter of the Yad Yehuda, it makes sense if you're going with the chashash of in between the teeth. But if you're chayshish for coating the throat, that's a fatty. That has to do with its fat content. Then melted cheese is the fat is very much relevant. So I will say this: mistama, the reason why we're makel is because as Ramosha defined it, it's a chumrah. If this entire thing is a chumrah, then dailoi lahachmim eker adin. You don't have to make yourself so crazy. You could rely on legitimate heterim.
I mean, Ramosha is Ramosha, but it just
no.
It's such an unusual concept.
Ramosha says the same thing regarding a klisheni that if you have liquid that's not klisheni that ain't bishlach or bishul b'davar yavish b'davar lachish and it's not legamri, right? When liquid gets cold, you're not allowed to reheat it. Ramosha calls it a chumrah. He says it's a chumrah ba'alma. So listen, that's what Ramesh is saying. If you look at the Ramah, it makes sense. Obviously, everything Ramesh says makes sense. But the point is, look at the Ramah. He says that Chei Noyagim by Gvina Kasha v'yesh Makil ve'ein limchos. Like if it was really Meikar Adin, you would be Moicha. His point is that if someone, according to the Ramah, if someone were to eat Parmesan and then eat meat right away, ein limchos, you're not supposed to correct them. That indicates that this entire thing is a chumrah. Ein limchos. That's how Ramosha defined it.
The next piece right now is, but you have to do bracha right after we do it. That was what we
Oh, so it's interesting. So the if you
no matter
notice,
how much you wait, whether it has to be preceded.
correct. So there is no indication over here of whether there is a need to make a bracha achrona. I don't have it in front of me, but the Mishabura in Hilchas Shavuos, I can get it actually. It's Kedai. This is in Hilchas Shavuos, as you mentioned. In Hilchas Shavuos, hold on one second, I'm just getting inside. Ma brings down Noyagim Bekam Mekaimis. This is in Tav Tzadi Dalad. Noyagim Bekam Mekaimis Lechol Macholei Chalav Biyom Rishon Shel Shavuos. V'nir Le'etam Shu Kamoy Shnei Tavshilin. Kein Oichlin Machal Chol Ve'acham Machal Basar. Right, that in order to a zeicher for the different carbon the carbon chagig and the carbon oila, the two carbonas, you have chalav and then basar in the same meal. Now says the Mishabura, Kamoshne Tavshilin Keinoichin. What's the limit? Keshem Sheva Pesach Zeichel Carbon Keichan Utzrichel Masas B'Shavuos Zeichel Shtei Halechem. Sorry, Zeichel for Shtei Halechem. Al Keinoichin Machal Chalav Achal Ma Basar Shtei Halechem. Tzrichel Lahavima. And why Shtei Halechem? Because you have to have different breads, right? Because you can't eat the same. You eat a slice of bread with dairy hands. You can't eat meat. So it's Shtei Halechem. Oh, he says V'lochei Nogel Efos. When you go from milk to meat, you have to change the tablecloth because it's dirty. If you're eating hard cheese, then it's treated like meat. You have to do a bracha achrona. But if you're eating dairy, there is no need to have a bracha achrona in between dairy and meat. Now, meat, we said you need a bracha achrona before you go to dairy. But going from dairy to meat, you do not need ein tzarech, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a pri megadim, tesvav. Degam oichel gvina kasha tzarech lahas b'chas hamaz, yamdin sheishois, pri megadim. So this is a pri megadim. I believe, though, that the zayir is chaylik, if I'm not mistaken, that the zayir requires a bracha achrona. Here that the Beis Yosef brings on, it's that same zayir, that the zayir basically says that all dairy should be treated like meat. So the same way meat, you need a bracha achrona. Dairy also need a bracha achrona. And he says, Mishabura, the Mishabura doesn't hold this. The Mishabura we just saw that the Mishabura feels that you do not have to make a bracha achrona after dairy before eating meat. So that way you could have, basically, bekitza, you could have pizza, and then you could have a burger right away. So
Point about the clock. Have you ever heard such a conversation?
No, definitely have not.
Maybe just to make sure.
Yeah, it's possible.
It makes you veg,
So now we're up to Sif Gimel. You good time, Wes? Stop here? No, pick it up next time. Shkoyach.